Welcome to the Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, CaptainLogun, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today. So tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. I know I did. This week was the Thanksgiving weekend for us over in the United States, but I was still being able to be joined by a bunch of the gold hoarders for the community episode this month. Next month, we'll have to see how things go, but we're kind of butting up against a couple big holidays for folks, so we may have to do it a little bit earlier than normal. But I was really happy to get a chance to sit down and talk with some gold hoarders this week to talk about season 8 and some initial impressions on what people think about it. So sit back, relax, let's get into it. But before we get into anything, I have to thank the patrons. They are the ones that went over to patreon.com/Keelhauled podcast to show their support for the podcast. They're the ones that are helping make sure that I can afford the tools that I use on a regular basis to do these podcasts, to make sure that if I need to upgrade anything, like I probably will in the next few months, I can start saving up towards that, or even just for SOT Fest next year, which we might be hearing some news about soon. You never know. Keep an eye out on Twitter or in the Discord. But I want to thank the patrons. So thank you to People's Republic, El Cute, Balls, Bam Bam Bagel, Captain Hasco, Captain Hayes, Chateau Neuf, Zombie Killer, Cloud, Cosmic Johnson, Static Mirror, Davram TV, El Jefe Esteban, Fergatron, Trickster, Jabaro 5, Carl Embo, Kazia the Rogue, Lumpy SRQ, Dub Dub Goose, Evil Morpheus, Xbox Mike 29, Murphy Lives, Mutinous Max, Raja the Brave, Regis Stella, Replicated Flame, Rustbelt Kid, Norwegian, Skamelt 666, Sudesh, Captain Dasm, That Kilted Guy, TN Professor, Real Big Tuna, Big Bad Pad, Mina Fairy, Super Pack, Music Me, The Lore Chronologist, Deadeye Dre, Heger Owl, Ghost Boy 20, Evil Martha, Peter Miller, Rooski Doo, Skinny Matt, Thor Von Blitz, Windsor Chris, and Zam. Wow. Thank you all so much for your support. It means the world to me. It does help a ton. It really does. So thank you for all of your thoughts and wishes. I hope you guys had an excellent holiday, and it was good to talk to those that were able to stop by even on the busy holiday that we're having right now. So thank you, everyone. Let's get into it. Welcome everyone to episode 251. This is the community episode, and as always, I'd like to have on the gold hoarders. They're welcome to join to have a community discussion, talk about some of the things that are going on in game and what that's been like for them, if they have any thoughts or feelings on the most recent updates as well. So this episode is going to be focused primarily on season 8. For many of you that know, season 8 is a very kind of heavy PvP focused season, and a lot of folks have been having a lot of fun with it. It's probably the best update that I've seen come to the game as far as like what people wanted out of content, and really excited to hear from the gold hoarders this week to kind of see like what's going on with that, see what they're doing, if they've jumped in or have they had any thoughts or good experiences with it. So I figured, as always, we'll kind of walk down the list of everyone. Bear in mind, if you guys are listening to this later on, this is actually happening on Thanksgiving weekend. So a lot of the folks that normally would be with us are actually kind of out celebrating with family. There's a lot of sports that are going on during this time of year. So a lot of folks are kind of rooting for their favorite teams for different sports, as well as like World Cup or college or collegiate football, not World Cup football, but other football. And we'll just kind of expect that maybe some of them will be able to drop in, depends on when those games end or if they have a moment. But otherwise, we'll just kind of sit down and chat with everyone that's going on right here. So working down the list, we'll start off with Carl Embo. Carl, how you doing? Welcome.
Afternoon, how's it going? Nice to be back.
Good to have you back. And just popping in right now is actually Mina Fairy. Mina, welcome. How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing all right. Thank you.
Awesome. Glad to have you. Next up, we've got Norwegian. Norwegian, welcome. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you. Happy holidays as well. Also, we've got Regis Stella. Regis, how you doing?
A bit sick, a bit depressed, but you know, I'm doing good for as much as I can.
Well, that's all you can do, man. Hang in there. Next up, we've got TN Professor. TN, how you doing?
Arg! Enjoying the seas.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. And last but not least, we've got Big Bad Pad. Pat, how you doing, buddy?
Yay. Just made it in time.
Yeah, you guys did. I was wondering if you were going to be sailing with Davram. What happened? Because right before this, you guys were sailing with Davram, and I'm going to be sailing with him after we get on recording. But what was going on there? What were you guys stop for the moment? Take a break?
We are 2-0.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Well, to kind of jump into
it's
that.
hard to give up.
Oh,
Hard
really?
to give up so many resources. Yeah, but there's so many resources on that ship. But
well, let's
better
kind of dive into what's going on. We've got season 8, and we are going to be talking about the battle for the Sea of Thieves. This is Reapers versus Guardians of the Fortune, or the Servants of the Flame versus the Guardians of the Fortune, or the Athena Fortune kind of group, the Pirate Legends. And I have to say, this is probably one of the best updates Sea of Thieves has had in a while. I think this is a fantastic way to kind of bring in a lot of what I think people wanted with Arena. A lot of people wanted ship-to-ship battles. We wanted like on-demand PvP. We wanted people who would be committed to the fight and not just, sailing around, running away, or trying to do some shady stuff. And I really like the way that they've kind of gone about it. If you're not too familiar, they've opened up the seas so that you can opt in for PvP at any point. You get the opportunity to either be the aggressor or be the defender. And if you're the defender, you can go about your normal Sea of Thieves business until a ship spawns on you and the battle ensues. Everything is fair game in this. Cursed cannonballs, kegs, krakens, megs, other ships. It does not matter. You can pretty much do whatever you want to do in this version of Arena, which, funny enough, it feels like a 2.0, but technically would be a 3.0 if you think about the changes that they made to Arena originally. And as we kind of go down the list, I wanted to get some initial first impressions. Have you jumped in? Have you felt like you've had a good time with this? Moving down the list, let's kind of get some thoughts from Carl Embo. Carl, what did you think of this so far?
So I've not put as much time as I would like to put into it, but I've done both solo sloop and duo sloop, and I'm loving it. As someone who used to jump into Arena on a regular basis, anytime that I couldn't find things going on adventure, this is ideal. So we can go about, do our own thing, see what's happening on the server, and if we want to go for a battle, we can just vote it down and just go for it. And I love that aspect of it. And the fact that you can have it voted up, and whilst you've got it voted up, you are constantly at risk of that boat spawning on you as well. Just kind of like adds to the edge of it as well. You don't know who you're going to come across. You don't know what's going to happen. And it's just the thrill of it, basically. It's great. Yeah,
well said. Definitely. Mina, you've been playing very recently. How are you liking Season 8 so far?
So far, I am liking it, yeah. I've only managed to play a couple nights because of other commitments this week, mainly kids. But it's been mixed, but I've had fun.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you got at least some time to play around in the space. Next up, we've got Norwegian. Norwegian, have you gotten to spend much time with this?
I have. 10 out of 10 would play again. It's the chef's kiss. This is fantastic. It brought energy back into the game. Love that you're always on the lookout now, knowing that you can spawn on somebody or be spawned on. We came across another brig last night that was doing an Athena Veil mission. We popped up right next to them while they were doing the forts. Didn't win the fight, but still, it was just didn't know that we could pop up to them while they were doing the adventure. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really interesting how they've designed this. Also, moving down the list, we've got Regis. Regis, have you jumped into this?
Unfortunately, no, but I've seen a few people play the game on Twitch, and it's the update rather on Twitch, and I'm like, yeah, it's definitely something for those PvP oriented, and I'm PvE, so yeah, less target on us if you don't touch the hourglass of fate.
Yeah, definitely. Prof, how are you doing? Have you gotten a chance to jump in?
I've played solo sloop, duo sloop, brig, and galleon. We really hit it hard with the Black Rose and various other crews, and I've been enjoying it a lot. The only negative I would have is there's been some long wait times A couple times reminded me of original Arena, but the Season 8 cosmetics, the new areas, new content for Pirate Legend and Reaper, all of it has really been fun to see. We popped in to a server and noticed a Reaper circling and thought, man, there's got to be something happening up there. So we allianced up, put up our stuff, and then went over there, and it was really kind of epic to be able to swoop in as an Athena and help out a sloop Athena brother and sink the Reaper and kind of feel like the hero, and then kind of pair up and go back and forth. That was probably one of the most epic nights we had.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a lot of fun. I'm glad that you got a chance to jump in as well too. I have some questions for a couple of you after we kind of work through this. But Pad, you're up next on the list here. What have you thought about so far with the kind of Season 8 battle for the Sea of Thieves?
Oh, it's definitely up there with updates. The first night was a roller coaster of emotions. I think we ended up 5-2. And that second loss was, oh my god, it was TDM fest, and I hated it. But yeah, no, I can imagine that the solely PvP people are absolutely loving this. Obviously, like say Arena 2.0, TDMers galore. But yeah, I'm loving it.
Yeah, I had a really interesting situation. So I've been kind of holding off until I can get with more people. I did one solo sloop battle like the other night, and it definitely kind of made me realize like there's some clear tactics that you have to take with a sloop. The guy that I fought against was already a streak 4, and this was my first battle. So I am kind of curious how the MMR is going to work out once everyone kind of starts getting pushed into their own little buckets, into their own little areas, because it does not feel like MMR is really being taken into account when you start playing, because coming up against a streak 1 or a streak 4 Athena as a level 1 Reaper with no battles definitely makes me wonder like how it's going to be set up in a month's time when everyone's kind of gotten their wins and losses balanced out. But needless to say, it was very interesting because the fight came down to the fact that he was able to get the board and he finally got a kill on me, and I had a cannonball crate. He grabbed all my cannonballs except for what I had in my pockets, and he dumped the crate overboard, and I never got to see it again. So I went in for a ram strategy, and I ended up getting on his boat, and my boat was just kind of off in the distance. I have no clue whatever happened to it, but I ended up trying to sail his ship out of the circle, and I got very close to doing it. I had to kill him like 3 or 4 times before I finally got an opportunity to get him like out of the circle. And the whole time, like, he was wondering how come I hadn't sunk yet and spawned out. But I was very interested, and it ended up me losing my ship first, but I killed him one last time just as his ship was about to sink, and I got ported out. So while I didn't exactly win, I feel like I still kind of won because I think I killed his streak. But I'm very excited about this. And as I wanted to ask you, Carl and Prof, I wanted to talk to you guys. How's your solo sloop experience been? Like, what is something that you guys have noticed about solo slooping? Let's start with Carl.
To be fair, I've came across quite a lot of decent players. Not all decent in how they play, but their attitude towards it. So one of my matches was I managed to hammer into this guy, took his mast down, and I was just laying into him. And he's ended up getting onto my boat and one blundering me. And I already had holes, so I knew that I was going to be in a little bit of trouble here. But I knew that also he was about to sink. So I got the notification whilst I was on the ferry that he'd sunk. And I thought, great, I'm going to either come back to a sunken ship or he's going to one blunder me, kill me again, and the ship's going to go down. I came back, he dropped his pockets into my barrels, he'd repaired my ship, said GG's, and left. And
wow,
I came across a lot of nice people like that doing this, which is so refreshing. But when you're solo slooping, it's very difficult because if you go off your ship, you know, it's difficult to recover. So if you get blundered off, That's my biggest downfall at the moment, is being knocked off my ship and not getting back in time to recover.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. Prof, you said that you'd had a very humbling match.
Well, so right now the matching has been pretty much straight up 50-50 wins losses, and so it's definitely brutal. You know, you're reminded of just where you are at and where you are not, at least in our experience, and a lot of it has come down to just being really rusty about battling again. When Arena was open, I would get in once a day around lunch and at least do one battle just to keep things kind of fresh, and it made my cannon shots better in adventure. It made my reaction time in hand-to-hand better, and you know, that's kind of gone away. So that's been kind of exciting. The one solo sloop win I was my first one that was really kind of memorable. It was toe-to-toe dead even. It came down to I had 10 more planks than he did.
Oh, man.
And, you know, we would get on each other's boats and knock each other off and then, you know, hammer each other and then sail off and try and repair. And it did literally come down to the supplies we had.
Man.
But solo sloop is hands down the hardcore mode when you're talking about this. I would not go in picking solo sloop thinking that you know, I'm going to have an easy time. That is the hardest mode to play in as far as I'm concerned so far.
Yeah. One thing I've noticed with solo slooping is you either have to disable them or you have to get a good board, because it's too easy to take a few hits, pull out of a circle, you know, sail around for a little bit, repair, and then get back, and the whole battle's reset effectively, at which point then it comes down to a game of attrition. Norwegian, you had some comments in chat. What are your thoughts on solo slooping?
It's, if you come across somebody the same skill level, it just turns into a battle of who's got more supplies, who's got the more cannonballs, who's got the more wood, who's got more fruit, who can last longer, and just keep going. And I had one where it literally just turned into, he had 3 pieces of wood left, I had 4. We were both out of cannonballs, and it turned into ramming each other and seeing who sunk first. It really does test you, though. I love it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the experience that I've seen. I wanted to kind of open up the floor to other folks outside of slooping. Have many of you had some experiences where you kind of prefer one ship versus the other, or have you had any experiences with the whole MMR system that you wanted to touch on? Like, if you feel like it's working, if it's not working, kind of what your feedback has been on, especially like the MMR and then going up against other crews of the same size. Norwegian, you had some thoughts?
It's not working at the moment. Maybe it's just because everybody's still fairly new in this and that doesn't have enough data to really match you with the right team yet. But no, it's a 50-50 if you're going to roll into somebody that's double gun, just going to sweat lord you, or if you're coming up across somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. It seems to be just kind of back and forth all over the place. Also has to do with the wait times. I feel like if you're on an Xbox server, it's really hit and miss if you're going to get into a match pretty quickly. I think we waited 15 to 20 minutes yesterday for just one match as a brig on a Saturday night. Shouldn't have happened, but I think they'll get to it. They'll get there eventually.
Anyone else want to jump in?
I was going to say, I agree in the fact that the brig does seem to have the longest wait times. Obviously, I don't solo sloop or duo sloop very often, and I definitely won't be doing it in this. But from what I've seen on streams, the sloop times are minimal. Galleon times can be a pain, but like I say, we've just done brig and we've been waiting 10 minutes for a game. And it's mid-afternoon in America.
Yeah. Now, when you guys are talking about waiting, I'm wondering, are you talking about like on the aggressor going down under into the turrets and turrets, I think is what they're called, the waterways, and waiting, or are we talking like sailing around?
Yes.
Okay.
That's sitting there staring at each other,
Both
having
sometimes.
conversations.
Interesting. So that would be something
Diving,
where I'm curious. Yeah, like if they had a way to know, like if it's going to be more than 5 minutes, then just kind of say like, hey, when you're getting close, there is a way to like have it so that it lets you know like, hey, you're going to be paired soon, get ready to sail. And that way you can kind of still go around and do stuff while you're waiting. And then as you get closer to that actual matchup, that's when you'll get like a 5-minute warning to get on your boat. And then you got to get on your boat and get out into open sea, or you'll miss the matchmaking. Something like that maybe would help out. What do you think?
At least let us fish down there, create like maybe an underwater fish, something for us to do down there.
Pad, what do you think?
I guess
Oh, Prof, go ahead.
you've kind of described what the defense mode really is. But I did notice just me mentally approaching it completely different. Like when I dive, you're in battle mode right off the start with your boat. When we did defend mode, I felt a little discombobulated to begin with because, you know, you're off doing something on an island and then you're rushing back and trying to make sure everything's sorted.
Yeah.
And it's a different level.
Yeah, I'm really curious how many folks have tried to do the defend aspect of it, because that's the one where I feel like I would be the least interested as far as like trying to actually work on that. Like I can't imagine wanting to have to say like, hey, we're going to do a shrine, or we're going to go do a gold vault, or a merchant, lost shipments, and then be like, oh, well, at any point in time during that, you know, you could have someone spawn on your ship. Like I would hate to be in the middle of doing a gold vault, trying to get a treasure grade up because that's the best way to get gold, only to have someone spawn up on me like as I'm down in the actual shrine. What do you guys think? Carl, I saw you light up. Prof, let me get your thoughts after.
Yeah.
So I've only been spawned on a handful of times, but once me and my mate got up to Athena champion, we thought, okay, well, let's grab our quest, our emissary quest, because obviously we're level 5 Athena at that point. We did that. No one spawned on us. So okay, had a look on the map. There's level 4 Reapers. So I thought, okay, well, let's go take them out. And just going back to something which I think Regis said earlier about the PvE is safer now. It's definitely not. Because as soon as we wanted someone to spawn us, we thought, right, okay, well, let's go after everyone else. Let's go after everyone else on the server. Let's see if we can get our gold value up, the treasure on the ship value up.
Yeah.
So we sank 2 ships in that meantime, got up to grade 3. Then we sank another ship, and as we approached it to pick up the loot, we got spawned on. Which is, you know, I didn't mind that too much. But, and I'm hoping this is a bug which gets fixed quickly, all the loot disappeared. Everything disappeared.
Yeah, that's
the loot
right.
on the boat, the loot in the water, everything disappeared. But the value of the hourglass did not. So it's still, according to the hourglass, the loot was still on our boat.
Huh.
So whilst, yeah, it would have been great to defend all that loot, we didn't defend any loot in the end, which I was a bit gutted about. But I do like that idea. I like the idea of being able to really do a proper loot stack, knowing that someone can spawn on you at any point.
Yeah, definitely. Prof, I know you had some thoughts. I wanted to get your
Well,
feelings.
probably the most epic exchange was we were the brig and we allianced up and came in and kind of played the hero with the Athena sloop, and then we stayed allianced, and that was back to back getting spawned on because, you know, either we would get a spawn or the sloop would get a spawn.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of activity. The downside was whoever was spawning on us was having to fight 2 boats. You know, so there's that. But I do love the real world aspect where you have megs, you have islands. I spawned solo sloop in a storm to start out a battle, and that was very stressful. I hate storms, but especially solo slooping.
Yeah. It's not fun. Yeah, I'm really curious because now that we have things in the real world to contend with, it does make me wonder if there was a way that they could expand upon this system. Right now, it's 1v1. There's nothing stopping anyone from sailing in to help out other people, but there's nothing to say that, you know, if you were to alliance with another crew, say you found another crew on a server and you really enjoyed how good they were and what they would bring to the table, if you allianced up with them, who says there's nothing to stop from having another group of ships, another alliance, go dive in and spawn up on you? So then you could have like a 2v2 system and expand upon that. Like, you know, if you find another crew and whatever alliance you want, if you both flag for PvP, who's to say they couldn't have, you know, fleet versus fleet on a server. I don't know how well that works with the actual game, because right now it seems like we've always had this issue of, how do you deal with having multiple ships on one server? Like we've always had 5 5 ships right now is kind of like the maximum that we've seen. So how the heck do they deal with having multiple crews going up onto other crews? If that makes sense, like how do they deal with the number of ships that can be in a server with this system? That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. But what do you guys think? Let me get some thoughts.
Oh, if only you could do a 5-on-5 and sail into an alliance server and just go at it. Arr! That would be wonderful. Arr! Sorry, inner pirate.
Yeah. And as Regis mentions, I've been seeing a lot of, or I've heard from folks that apparently you're not allowed to touch the hourglass if you're on an alliance server. Alliances are not allowed to play around in this area. And that's kind of, if you guys think about like captaincy and the Sea of Thieves, the battle for the Sea of Thieves, this is 2 updates that are flying in the face of alliance servers. Basically saying like, hey, you don't get to have your captaincy ship on alliance servers. You don't get to have, you don't touch the hourglass on the ship. Rare is really saying like, hey, we don't want alliance servers to be involved. We want people to be playing the game the way it naturally is with other people in the world where there's chaos. How does everyone kind of feel about that?
I'm not sure if it's exactly saying they don't want alliance servers to be part of it. I just think that it's aimed purely at that PvP aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And well, yes, okay, the captaincy thing, I can see why that would upset some alliance servers. But this is purely about the fighting. Now, I know alliance servers may have servers for fighting on amongst their groups, which is fine. But this is purely for the people who just want to cause mayhem, who want to go in, who wants to go all guns blazing, and that's great. So obviously, alliance servers won't be allowed to touch the hourglass, because if they did, they'll have a PvP player coming into that server, and there's nothing better as a PvP player ending up in an alliance server.
Yeah,
because it's just chaos. It's great.
You also have to take into account them spiking the servers to get as many ships as they can on a server to be able to alliance up to really kind of get that gold earn. Any ship that invades, whatever person that leaves that ship, not only are you leaving the invader into that server, but you're also kicking out one of the alliance ships that you can no longer have in your alliance. Like you just don't get to have a full server alliance at that point anymore. So it really is kind of interesting to see like the fact that the loser gets kicked off the server pretty much ensures that alliance servers won't be able to participate if they want to continue having a full server alliance.
Well, I was wondering with this, obviously there's 5 ships on a server. If someone votes for it, will that extra ship still spawn in, bearing in mind they're restricted to a particular area and whoever loses gets kicked out, so they're then getting replaced anyway? So for short periods of time, are we actually seeing 6, maybe 7 ships on a server now?
That's my main question, because if you have 5 ships on a server and all of them are defending, how many potential ships could spawn in as the aggressor into that server? Could you have an additional 5 or just 1?
One.
For sure.
I know it's happened. Yeah, I know it's happened. Some of the early leaders in the boards, that's how they got there. They allianced 4 ships and left that one spot open and trashed the one coming in and just did it repeatedly. They stayed on the server, the 4 together, in defense, and then whoever had somebody spawn on them, they ganged them. And remember, one win is a win for all in the alliance. Interesting. Whether it be Athena or Reaper. And so that was how they were gaming the system. And I don't know that Rares chose to address that. But some of your first, I mean, you had a couple posting that they were already in the secret zone by the end of the day of the first drop.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it took Mixel 121 battles to do that.
Yeah.
Over the course of a couple days. So that really does call some question on.
Is correct me if I'm wrong, but I was under the impression that Mixel is a solo slooper, though.
Yes.
So as far as I know, they were doing it legit.
They were doing it legit.
Okay.
And doing it legit took 121 wins over the course of days.
Yeah.
So these people that got in just hours after the update really make me question. And then in doing some reading and some lurking on some of the boards, that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
They were alliancing 4 ships, leaving 1 open, and picking defend, and then just staying in that rotation as long as they could.
Yeah. Very interested to see like how this plays out, because it doesn't feel very fair to have a system where you can have 4 ships versus 1, and then just have everyone kind of go up against that one ship that's coming in. I know there's in the system right now, and maybe anyone of you have tried this out, but has anyone tried to go for the larger ships as far as like going in as a smaller crew, going up against a galleon as a brig?
Don't you have to have gotten 4 wins in a row before you can do that?
Mm-hmm. I don't know what everyone's highest streak is, so I figured I'd just toss it out there. But has anyone gotten to become a champion yet? That's a good question, actually. Has anyone hit champion?
I've hit it a couple of times, and the only time where I went to actually vote to go against a bigger crew, the galleon rolled in.
Oh,
Like just rolled in generally on the server. So I was like, okay, well, let's do this then. Then we sank them, and then it was like, yeah, okay, well, we'll call it that, I think. So I didn't actually dive onto anyone, but someone rolled in on me as a champion. So it was only right that we decided to sink them.
One of the interesting things I have about this is this update feels like it is the spiritual successor to the Reaper's Mark flag. If you go back and watch the trailer that they put out for the update for Reaper's Mark, it was very interesting to think that they're like, people will start strolling in on you, trying to sink you because you've put up the Reaper's Mark. And that never really happened. Very few people ever really... It really turned into a thing where like a bunch of kids did not know what this is. It looked cool. They put it up. You go over there, you find out it's a bunch of kids, and you try to explain to them, this is a PvP flag. Don't put this up unless you want fights. And this feels like this is finally given us the Reaper's Mark that I think all of us were kind of hoping would actually be in the game.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, because as soon as you see a champion on the map, we had a sloop roll in on us as well, whilst we were waiting for people to spawn in on us. Because, of course, if you sink a ship which just rolls in on you, it's not part of your sink count. The sink count only is included if it's one of the ships which has spawned in on you or you've spawned on them. That's the only time it counts towards a streak. So you could sink the whole server and it won't make a difference to your streak.
Has anyone done any testing as far as, say, like you're a defender and you've got a streak and someone on the server rolls in on you, but they also happen to be a defender? Has there been any word? I haven't seen anything online stating that would count towards the streak, because that would be interesting if 2 defenders could fight while they're waiting.
Isn't 4 wins just 4 wins and designated by the symbol, irregardless of whether you're defending or attacking?
It is, but if they're not opted into the PvP system, the sync won't count, I think is what Carl was saying.
Oh yeah. I just know that when we got to 4 wins, we were wore out.
Yeah.
Ours was very done, and we hightailed it to an outpost and turned in our hourglass. But turning in 2 of those flags, that I think one of them was a 4 win. We made over 150,000 gold just turning in those flags.
Ahoy there, pirates. This is the ad for this episode, and I did want to let you know, if you wanted to avoid these and just get a regular filler, you can head over to the Patreon. There's a special feed just for patrons that get the ad-free version. If you want to keep listening, though, I can't say I blame you, because this week I want to let you know about Loot Crate and getting 15% off of most crates and crate subscriptions when you use the link and code RobotsRadio in the show notes. Also, you can head over to audiobooks.com, get your first 3 audiobooks for free, and that can include any free 2 VIP books, or use the affiliate link for Green Man Gaming. If you're a PC gamer or you'd like to save money on games, it's one of the benefits of being a PC gamer. Head over to Green Man Gaming. You can get codes for Steam, Epic, any of the different stores that they have deals going on. They have deals going on all the time, and if you plan on buying there, please consider using our affiliate link. All of that goes straight to me through the network. Thank you all so much for everything that you do to support this podcast. It means the world to me, and I continue to try and improve the quality and the content for you. With that, pirates, let's get back to the show. That seems like a kind of brings us to our next point. There's a lot of gold to be had with this system, and I'm very interested to see like how much gold you could actually make, because I think I saw someone post on Twitter that there was a 10-win streak, and they had like an emissary flag up that was like rank 5 as well. So when the emissary rank rolled in plus the 10-win streak, I think it came out to like a cool $1 million worth of gold for just the hourglass, which I think it's kind of crazy just how much money you can make on this.
I think that was a 21 win streak.
Oh, is it 21? Okay. I thought it was 10.
It was a 21 wins.
I mean, that's a lot of freaking gold.
But I'm spending a lot of gold supplying up sunk ships.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's ever going to even out. I'm going to have to get a lot better.
So maybe that's the trick there is that this is a renewable, like they've gone in, they've put in renewable resources, they've given you the ability to buy supplies, and now they are funding that through the PvP system.
Remember, we've always talked about there needs to be a gold sink. I think we found it.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because I'm gonna pull up this card as a little notch on my belt, but I remember a lot of people pushed back on me when they said that they didn't want to have viable supplies, and that it would cause imbalance in Sea of Thieves as far as PvP goes. And it seems like if anything, this has been a real boon to the system that we have now.
It would seem like they've planned ahead and were thinking about this update when they did that.
So how has, in Prof, since you've been doing this, Pat, I imagine you probably have as well too. How has the resupply timer been for you?
It depends. When you're sunk within the first 30 seconds of a battle and have to slink back, then we just start a new server.
That's kind of how you get around it.
Yeah, there's been a couple times though when we've used all our supplies and luckily been in a circle where there was either an island or an outpost, and we've rushed in and fired somebody over and got the boat close enough to re-up the captain supplies, and that's been the edge. So I love the real world interplay with possibly having in your circle a fort or an outpost or a meg or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. So as we kind of move into this, I wanted to kind of use the last few 20 minutes or so talking about the actual, like the reason to actually do this outside of just PvP, right? We have whole new areas in the world now that are tied to Athena's Fortune, that are tied to Reaper's Bones. Are you all looking forward to, like, have you picked your faction? Are you looking forward to getting into that new world? Are you looking forward to the curses? Like, I want to know what you all think of the the ghost curse and the skeleton curse. Like, which one are you kind of working towards first? Carl, you want to jump in?
Yeah, so I will be going with both of them. Currently, I'm probably pushing more towards Athena. No particular reason, to be honest. I don't really have an allegiance to one side or the other. I'm quite happy fighting with both, but I'm just trying to get to the end of it just because I want to start those accommodations. If people thought the arena grind was hard, I think this is going to be very similar level.
That's some good insight there. Mina, have you picked a side, or are you going with whatever Pad tells you have to do?
That one. I'm just doing whatever everybody else is voting for on the ship.
Pad.
We have done both, though. We were doing yesterday. We were looking at which was the quicker one, because it tells you a guesstimate of how long the queue times are going to be.
Yeah.
And then we were just going with whatever was going to be the shortest wait time, although it didn't always work. But yeah, we're kind of doing both.
I've noticed that tends to be a big driver for a lot of people is the queue times really do make a difference. Norwegian, are you picking a side to start off with? Are you working towards one or both?
For the Pirate Lord. For honor.
So you're going with your Ghost Curse to start off with.
Yeah, I gotta admit though, that Flameheart Curse, that looks pretty sweet. I would love to have that thing, but yeah, I gotta represent the good guys. It's kind of just my draw.
That's 100% valid. Regis, I know you haven't really engaged with this, but I know you've kind of checked out some of the stuff as far as the actual content goes. Are you looking to see if there's a way that you can join in with us and try and work towards some of these cosmetics, or go check out some of these areas?
Aren't you willing to put up with Tasmanian National Time zone? Then I don't know if I can actually get either the Ghost or Skeleton Curse. But if I have to choose, Ghost Curse.
Ghost, all right, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
because you know that goal one is like 1,000 levels, and I don't think we ever reached 1,000 on anything before.
Yeah, it's pretty up there. I would not be surprised if someone hits it in the next week or so.
Yeah, probably knowing this community.
So, Prof, you've been playing a bit. Which one are you going
Just
for?
a bit. Black Rose agreed we wanted to try to go for the Athena faction first. That first preference. To get our hands on the Ghost Curse and get into the tavern. I know, Agent of Chaos should have picked the other, but that's what we decided. You know, in the end, some of us are neutral, some of us are good. You can make your guesses on which ones the crew is either, but we'll get both eventually.
Yeah. Pad, I know you want to go Reaper most of the time. You've been switching between whichever is more timely. But do you have a preference?
Yeah, I do. And considering I voted to get rid of Pendragon last time, I am with the Athena crew at the moment. But that's mainly because I've been sailing with Prof for the last 3 days because he's been Skyping me off work.
That's
Nerd!
Yes.
So I as soon as I saw the rewards, and I thought, you know what, I love Athena's Fortune. I love the Ghost Curse. I think the Ghost Curse is fantastic. It'll be really cool to start seeing people running around who are like as a ghost, you know. It'll be really interesting to kind of see that. But man, when they showed off that video and they had the Reaper's bones and they had the Bonesmith down there, and I saw that you could start actually getting cosmetics that make you look like skeletons from the actual art book and the Tales of Sea of Thieves book. It really just it just spoke to me. And and as much as I'm not a fan of like having your name on the map that says like, hey, come kill me, I have to go with the Reapers on this one because I want to see that area down below there. There's a giant tree that really makes me want to know more about what that tree is. And I want that skeleton curse. So for the Reapers at this point. I guess as we're kind of closing things up here, I'm kind of curious to hear what people think as far as the actual like cosmetics or the treasure grade. Has anyone really tried to work on the treasure grade? But before we kind of like close out on that, I wanted to get into one talking point, or actually two talking points. First off, I want to hear what everyone's thoughts are from Caleb's question that came in. He asked if you could go back to the launch of Sea of Thieves and you could take any of the cosmetics that we have from now all the way back. If there's one cosmetic that you could take back to the very beginning of the game to show people and be like, hey, this is something that's going to come to the game in the future. What's one cosmetic that you would pick that you would just show off to people and be like, this is what you're getting. This is what you're coming. And I have mine, but I'm very curious to hear what people think of theirs. If you guys have one, let me know right off the bat so you can give some other folks time to actually jump in. But if you've got one, definitely jump out and let me know what you think.
Well, give us yours first.
Oh, you want mine first? Okay. If there was a way that I could go back to the very beginning of the game's launch and show them a cosmetic that they would absolutely die for, I would take the Jack Sparrow costume from A Pirate's Life back to the beginning of the game and be like, guys, check this out. I think that would be really, really fun to just be like, Jack Sparrow's going to come to the game and you're going to be able to dress like him. So what else do you guys have? Anyone got one?
That's nice. I think I'd want to have Ramsey's curse so that I could pretend to be an NPC and cause havoc with new crews.
I'm surprised you went with that one and not like the barrel emote.
Oh, that would be fun too.
Yeah. It's really like, what's up with this barrel? Why does this one person have a barrel emote? Become infamous.
Hide on the boat and just start saying things.
Yeah. Before people knew what tucking was.
Oh, this sounds so much fun.
Norwegian, you had one in chat. What do you want to take back?
Probably the obvious one, but the DA sales, just so you can warn people, hey, this is coming. These guys are going to irritate the hell out of you and be really annoying. Have fun.
Yeah, the Dark Adventure sales are kind of the I'm here for the fight because I need the visibility thing.
Every time I see one, it's like, all right, well, you either got it legit and you're really, really good, or somebody on your boat has it and you're just tucking along and you don't know what you're doing.
Who else has something? What's one of your favorite cosmetics? You think this is the best cosmetic? I want to take this back and show people and just shock them at how amazing the content is going to look in the future.
Any sails that are shiny. So the Wandering Ghost sails, Wandering Reaper sails, Pirate Legend sails, anything that literally is bright you can see on the horizon. Yeah,
that'd be really cool because we really didn't have anything that glowed back then. And in fact, I remember when people actually started getting the Pirate Legend, the Ghost cosmetics for the livery set, a lot of people were like, hey, we want glowy hulls. How come this thing doesn't glow? It should glow. What else has someone got? And let's Regis, you bring up a good point. Let's open this up. So yes, we'll say shanties are included as well too.
Well, I'm gonna say the yo-ho a pirate's life for me shanty. So like, much like your Jack Sparrow costume, like yo-ho a pirate's life for me, be like, that's in the game? Since when?
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I really would love to have the ability to have like so many shanties that you start having to like teach other people what those shanties are. Like you get a shanty and then you play it for someone else and they learn how to play that shanty off of what you did in the future. I still think that would need to be really a fun idea to kind of play around with. Who else haven't we heard from? Carl, have you shared one yet?
I just put one down then of the orb.
The all-knowing orb.
The lantern. It's like, yeah, this is going to visit you one Christmas, and it's going to tell you of all the events which are going to happen in the following year. And I'm really hoping, since we're almost there, I'm hoping it returns. I want to hear more from the orb.
Yeah.
So, Rare, if you're listening, give us the orb. We want to hail the orb again, please.
Norwegian brings up a really good point in chat. We could do an orb watch for 2022. I was around I was there for orb watch 2021. It was fantastic. I would love to have that. Prof, you have one. What's yours?
Oh, it's the coffee drinking emote. Just stand in the corner and drink your coffee. Or do it while someone's boat is sinking. That would be fun too.
Yeah.
Or on fire.
There you go.
One thing that
that would be a great item for the future, just to add coffee cups instead of mugs.
Yeah, get actual coffee cups. That'd be fantastic. I would love to see what people thought of the Spanish officer set that we got in one of the seasons in the past, because I think that set was probably one of the best looking sets that had come to a season pass. I would love to see what people thought of that one. All right, how are we doing on time? So we did have that one question that Pad brought in, and I wanted to kind of toss this out there. How do you all feel about the ability to raise or lower your ladders on a ship? Like, is that overpowering? Is that something that needs to be implemented? Pad, you kind of kicked this off, and unfortunately Pad's had some issues with his headset connectivity. But I figured I'd do his question justice and say that the idea of being able to raise your ladder would help with things like silent boards, which is something that is still kind of a plaguing bug in Sea of Thieves, where you can't hear the people that are actually boarding your ladder if they aim down sights as they grab the ladder. But one of the questions was, should you be able to raise your ladders on a ship? Carl, did you have some thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like if you're paying attention to what's going on around you, if you see someone jump off the ship, usually you'll see a mermaid before they get to your ship. There's usually telltale signs of them on their way to board you.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they're on the ladder, most of the time you can try and defend it.
Yeah.
I think raising and dropping, I just don't like the idea of that, because I just feel like as if it takes out a big part of the PvP aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. Mina, do you have any thoughts on this?
I would just use it to troll my crew.
Just keep them from being able to get back on the ship.
Yeah.
That's fair. Norwegian, what do you think?
No, it's already sometimes hard enough to get on a ship. If anything, we need more ways to get on a boat.
All right. Regis, you got any thoughts?
Hell to the no. Thank you very much.
Prof, how are you feeling about that idea?
I'm really hesitant to mess with the balance, but I guess if it has to come, then if you raised your ladders, you don't get any mermaids either. So if you get knocked off the boat, too bad.
Mermaids just really like ladders. They fear
right.
the non-ladder.
No ladder, no mermaid. Fine, do it. But no, I think it's a bad idea.
Yeah. I think Mina kind of says this in chat too. I think that the silent board is something that needs to be addressed more than I would say that we need to start playing around with the mechanics of a ship, because right now it's hard enough to kind of like get onto boats, like you said. If there's no way to get on a ladder, then effectively the only way to get onto a boat is through like a cannon shot and getting on there. And that really does kind of hurt, especially for solo sloopers. Like there's really very few ways for you to actually be able to actually like jump on and get a boat locked down so that you can actually try and get it sunk. But I would very much like to have the silent board worked out, because it is devastating when you use or you rely so heavily on the auditory kind of cues to let you know what's going on around your boat. And if you misthink something is happening, or you don't hear something that comes in, it's really tough. And there's definitely been times where a mermaid hasn't spawned and someone was able to get aboard because our ships were too close.
Oh, I love it, Carl. Every pirate has a cat bell around their neck. There we go.
Yeah, I'd much rather put a bell on every single pirate, basically, is what I just said in chat. Was like, I'd rather have a bell on pirates than to remove ladders. Because that would also make great content for if someone's tucking on your ship. And you just hear the bell every now and then as the ship sways. Not that I put that much thought into it, I swear.
Like, I can't imagine the world we would live in if Summit 1G had to have a little bell around his pirate's neck while he's trying to go around tucking on pirates' ships. All right, friends. Well, I love the conversation we had. We didn't get a chance to dive into any of the captaincy alignment rewards. We didn't get a chance to dive into any of the cosmetics or the season pass, but that's okay, because we've got a lot more time and more months that we're going to be having these community episodes where we can talk about that kind of stuff. But I wanted to make sure that we got kind of first impressions and feelings about the system, how everyone's liking it, if they're engaging with it, who they're choosing, all kinds of stuff like that, as we kind of dive into this first foray into a very healthy PvP system for Sea of Thieves. And I'm glad that Arena died so that this version of Arena could live, because otherwise I don't see this version of Arena ever making it to the game. Was there anything anyone wanted to touch on before we head out and say our goodbyes, though?
Fine, Logan. The old Arena had to die. You just had to bring that in. All right.
It's
there you go. You win.
What would I mean? I was
right. This is better. This is better. But I'm not going to let you get a big head about it.
That's fine. I'm not going to get a big head about it either. But I will say, I called Duke and Arena died, and we got something better out of it.
That's a fake Duke. You know, I'm not done.
Yeah, let's not talk about Duke. If you know, you know.
All right. So let's kind of round things out here. Let's get our goodbyes in and stuff. And if you guys have anything you want to shout out or anything that you're happy or want to say to Rare or the community, feel free to toss those in. Just as always, be very kind and respectful as possible. But Carl, as we end up saying our goodbyes, anything you want to shout out or say?
Absolute love where the game's going at the moment. Very excited to see what comes of it. If anyone ever comes across me on a sleep, please feel free to shout at me. I'm always happy to have a bit of a chat before we have a fight. But if anyone ever needs someone to team up with, I'm always about. I'm always down to play in the evenings.
Awesome. I'm glad that you had an opportunity to jump in here and share your feelings on season 8. Mina, how you doing?
Yes.
Anything you want to shout out or say as we head out?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Oh, wow. Didn't even take the opportunity to throw a jab at Patty. I see. Okay. Norwegian, as we're saying our goodbyes, anything you want to shout out or say?
One more time, happy holidays to everybody. If you're looking for a crew, the Discord is always a great place. It's a great group of people here.
Very, very much echo that. 100%. Regis, we're heading out. Anything you want to share with the rest of us as you're in the midst of your summer?
Yeah, no, not really. Just I'm probably going to be listening to Aussie Jingle Bells for the rest of the year. That or this One Piece Jingle Bells by the Straw Hat Pirates. Either way, it's Jingle Bells. It's Christmas themed.
Nice, awesome.
Yep.
And Prof, as we're heading out, any last words you want to share?
May you never experience the wind curse. May it always be at your back. If you see us out on the seas, say hey and fire a cannon.
And I think Patty is back. I think he's finally with us.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry to say
work.
everyone vetoed your idea of raising the ladders, but we're all in favor of putting bells on pirates.
Yeah, I saw that bit. I would like them to remove the silent board again, though.
Yeah, I think that needs to get
They
addressed.
took it out, and then it's managed to come back again. Amina doesn't need any more any more chances of just throwing shade my way. She gets enough as it is.
That's 100% true too. All right. Anything you want to shout out as we head out, though?
No, just come and watch us later on your stream or Davrim's.
And by later, he means Saturday afternoons, because this won't be out till Monday. So if you guys don't know, Keelhauled has the Gold Hoarder channel. It's the patrons. They're the ones that are supporting this content. And anyone in the captain's tier, they're always more than welcome every month to join in for the community episode. I love having everyone join up for this because it's great to hear your stories. It's great just to talk to you, but it's also fun to know how you're all feeling about it, because I honestly do think you all have some of the best perspectives on how the game plays and what state it's in. So thank you to all of you for jumping in today. I really appreciate it, and it was great to hear from you. And I think with that, we'll say our goodbye. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see you all next month for the next community episode. Before I round things out, I did want to give a shout out to the Rare community team. This week was very special for me. I've been a part of the community for a long time, obviously. You guys have been listening to the podcast maybe the whole time. And I got a message early on, I believe it was either Monday or Tuesday morning, and they were asking if I would be willing to accept a title. I didn't understand what they were talking about. And as I continued to read on, they told me that it was going to be for the Boatswains. If you guys don't know, the Boatswains are part of the forum team that was out in the game back before the game actually launched. They were the ones that were kind of helping guide people, helping kind of let people know what was going on in Sea of Thieves through the actual forum links and stuff like that. So I've known a lot of them for a fair amount of time. And for a while there, they had never gotten any kind of recognition. And one of the things that was going on with the Boatswains was that they have always just kind of been positive members of the community. And back in 2019, they extended the unofficial official kind of boatswain title or bootswine title to me to kind of help people out and just to kind of thank me for me trying to be a positive influence in the community. So when I get this message on Tuesday that they were going to give me a role, they wanted to kind of, like make sure I was okay with it. And that them being the Sea of Thieves team, of course. And Joe Thoreau, or Joe Clifford over at Sea of Thieves, has been working very hard to get not only the Quartermasters, but the Boatswains titles in game to kind of show their support, show love for them, for the hard work that they've put in, helping the community, supporting it, being a positive influence whenever possible. So I was really excited to hear that they had decided to bring me into the Boatswain role as well, being that I technically was not around for that forum discussion when people were doing that. I've just been since a little before the game actually started. So to get the Boatswain title really did kind of mean a lot to me. It was nice to feel included. It was nice to be considered. And I want to thank Thor, and I want to thank Dr. Bullhammer, and any of the other Bootswains that, Bootswains. I always think boats or Bootswine, but it's Boatswain, because they have a little pin that's adorable. It's a little pig in a little boot, because it's Bootswine. And I'm probably giving away too much about their secret little kind of jokes that they have. But I just got to say, if you're out there and you happen to see either a Quartermaster or a Bootswine or Boatswain, it's Boatswain. If you see the Boatswain title, those are people that will probably still attack you, but they are positive members of the community and are generally a real pleasure to talk to, just in general. So if you happen to be in game in voice and you see a Boatswain, feel free to jump in and start chatting with them, because they're usually really cool people. And I'm so glad that Rare was able to identify them as a Boatswain. And as they self-identify as a Bootswine, and just to be able to get that title, it's a title. It's not huge, but for me, for someone who has had the Bearer of the Reaper's Mark ever since that title came out, given that I was one of the first few people that was documented as being able to get the Reaper's Mark tattoo on my person, that title has been with me for a very, very long time. This is one of the first times I think I've genuinely changed my title, not just to have something up there, but to change my title ever since I've had, because it was like Pirate Legend, and then it was like Bearer of the Reaper's Mark, and now it's Boatswain, and that's so cool. It's such a cool thing. So thank you to Rare. Thank you for doing that. It really does mean the world to me. And I encourage anyone that is trying to be a positive influence out there. Keep working at it. Keep being positive. Keep talking to Rare. Keep talking to, commenting on social media, getting in touch with any of the devs when they're streaming. Just let them know that you're out there, and put out whatever you can to be the positive influence in the community. And people will find you. People will kind of flock to you. And it doesn't matter what you do, whether you're drawing, writing, content creation, streaming, any of that. If you want to do something and you want to share your passion with someone else, 100% get down, do it. It's the work that gets in that people start to notice. Like, that's how you get noticed in the community, is you definitely 100% put yourself out there as best as you can and be consistent about it. And eventually people will find you. You will always find your own community. And that's a really fantastic thing. So thank you to the Bootswines. Thank you to Rare. I'm happy to be a Boatswain. And yeah, I don't know. We'll see where things go from here. Who knows? All right, pirates, that's going to do it for this episode of the Keelhauled podcast, episode 251. Thank you to everyone that dropped by. Again, thanks a lot for those that were able to join us for the recording. And if you didn't, just remember, it always happens at the end of the month. I'm going to be putting up an event in the Discord. If you join in the Discord, you'll be able to see the event and know exactly when it's going to happen in your time zone. As always, I'm going to be in PST, so it's always going to be -8 hours back from GMT. GMT, from what I understand, if that's kind of where you go. So with that, I think we're gonna wrap things up here. A lot to cover next episode. We're going to be talking about the patch notes as we dive into those and get some more general thoughts about some of the things that have been going on with this update. It's been a very positive update and a really good lesson for learning how to deal with people that are on there that are doing better than you. We'll have to see how the MMR stuff works out. Things you can learn or analyze to help kind of improve your own gameplay as well. I want to cover some topics like that. So we'll get into all of that next week in next week's episode. So if you guys want to reach out, there's plenty of ways to do so. Head over to Twitter at CAPT_LOGUN. You can head over to Hive at CAPTLOGUN. You can write an email in at CAPTLOGUN@gmail.com, or you can join into the Discord. There's the Sherpa program if you want to help or help others, or if you want help from others, that they can set up some time and see if they can work with your schedule, get some people together to work on things to be able to help sail and help you out with stuff if that's what you're trying to learn some more stuff about what Sea of Thieves is like, especially if you're brand new. There's a lot to cover. So all of the links are in the show notes. Feel free to head over there if you need any questions, comments, concerns. If you're watching this on YouTube, any likes or subscribes always help the algorithm, always help try and get the content out to other people as well too. It just means the world to me that you're even listening. So thank you all so much. And with that, I think we'll get out of here.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.
Nominated in New Jersey's Here Now Audio Fiction Festival 2020, it's BioShock, the Midnight Series. Based in the dystopian underwater city of Rapture, witness what it was like for civilians from different walks of life before and after Andrew Ryan's city fell. It's a tale of deception, downfall, and survival. BioShock, the Midnight Series, a podcast by Preston Hardin. Listen on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
In a world where solid-state electronics and vacuum tubes are still meta, people never stopped loving atomic-powered everything. A chosen 500 stepped inside a subterranean vault to be spared the nuclear horror of the inevitable Great War. 25 years later, they emerge after the fallout settles to retake Appalachia. Among them, two former rivals whose blood feud will tear West Virginia apart in their epic struggle for survival. Chad, a vault bro who has a strength of 15, an intelligence of 2, and is a complete wasteland dickhead. Simon, a complicated anti-hero who chooses light and hope, but accidentally becomes a cannibal and wakes up naked and afraid with a Scorchbeast queen after a date goes terribly wrong. What? I mean, it's a wild wasteland, right? This dark humor radio drama will have you driving off the road and crawling out from under the fallout. 2 men, 1 wasteland, and so many nukes. Chad, a Fallout 76 podcast, rated R, now streaming on your holotape player podcasty thing.